What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. Welcome back to another edition, another episode of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And man, oh man, I'm super grateful, super pleased to be back here with you guys today. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. The content, it doesn't move without the people. This whole thing we got going on, the vibes, the energy, you know what I mean? The ambiance, it doesn't move without the people. I can only do so much, y'all. All I can do is just give y'all my energy, give y'all my illustrious attitude, and you guys got to do the rest. You know what I mean? You guys got to do the rest. You guys got to smash that like button. You guys got to subscribe to the show. You guys got to comment as well. And also share, man. Make sure you turn on that notification bell so you're made fully aware whenever we go live. Best believe that. And on top of that, you guys don't forget, I also give away things. You guys have an opportunity here to get $20 off. I repeat, you guys have an opportunity to get $20 off your first SeatGeek order. If you've never used SeatGeek before, if you've never had an account with SeatGeek, I don't care how many accounts you make, right? Take advantage of the $20 off your first order. All you got to do is click the link in the description or download the SeatGeek app. Use my promo code ChalkItUpSports right there at the top of the screen. ChalkItUpSports. Use my promo code and you'll be able to get $20 off your first SeatGeek order. It's baseball season, y'all. Opening day is among us. We know them baseball seats, they ain't that expensive, but sometimes depending on where your team is, they can get pretty expensive. So why not treat yourself and the crew and get $20 off your total of your first order? Use that. You could use that $20 towards concessions. You could use that $20 towards your chickens and pizza fries. You feel what I'm saying? So make sure you guys take advantage of the perks we got here at Chalk It Up Sports. Again, we're partnered with SeatGeek. You guys can get $20 off your first order using Chalk It Up Sports, the promo code, and you'll be good to go. All right? Okay. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Let's get into the content. So, as you guys can see from the thumbnail, we have some more updates as it pertains to the Philadelphia Eagles top 30 visits, right? But before we get into that, we have to get into some other breaking news. Nothing major, but important nonetheless. The Philadelphia Eagles, they signed offensive lineman Matt Pryor to a 1-year deal. Now, I'm not sure if any of you remember Matt Pryor or if you're familiar with Matt Pryor. But Matt Pryor, he spent a nice chunk of his career with the Philadelphia Eagles. Matt Pryor, he's a former Eagles 6th-round draft pick. He was the 206th overall pick in the 2018 draft class. And he put in some quality snaps for the Eagles. Now, granted, he didn't obviously spend his entire career with the Eagles, but he's a 7-year pro. He spent his first 3 years with the Philadelphia Eagles, ranging from 2018 to 2020. And then he was traded to the Colts, where he spent 2 seasons of his career, 2021 and 2022. And then he spent his 2023 season with the 49ers as a backup. And he spent last season, the 2024 season, he spent that with the Chicago Bears, where he played a career high in snaps. Now, Matt Pryor, 6'7", 332 pounds, 30 years old. He's a little bit of a late bloomer. He got his NFL start a little bit late. He wasn't able to really get on the football field until he was 25 years old. He was one of those older draft picks. You feel what I'm saying? I think he was 24 or something like that when he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's 30 years old now. Was a late bloomer in the NFL, 7-year pro, first 3 seasons in Philadelphia, 2 seasons with the Colts, 1 season with the Niners, and 1 season with the Bears. Now, we all know the Philadelphia Eagles are a team that highly prioritizes investing in the trenches, and they highly believe in investing in experience at the position while also developing young guys as well. Now, keep in mind, prior to this move, they did bring in veteran offensive lineman Kendall Lamb. Kendall Lamb has a lengthy career as well. I think Kendall Lamb is about 32, 33 years old as well. He's another guy who had a little bit of a late start to his career. I think Kendall Lamb probably didn't get drafted until he's about 24 or something like that, 23, 24. So again, a guy who has a lot of experience like Matt Pryor, but I see what they're doing here. They're making sure, like I always say, they're making sure that they have enough bullets in the gun. And I understand it. They're trying to make sure that they have enough offensive lineman prospects on this team with a nice blend of experience and youth, so they can really fill out that offensive line in terms of depth, right? Your starters are pretty much ironed out. Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Landon Dickerson at left guard, Cam Jurgens at center, Lane Johnson at right tackle. Your right guard spot is technically uncertain, but there's a strong chance Tyler Steen is in pole position to get that role. You never know. Maybe he gets challenged by Trevor Keegan. Maybe he gets challenged by Quinyon Green. We'll never know until training camp officially starts. But as of right now, if we're projecting, I would pencil in Tyler Steen as the starting right guard as of today. But they brought in a handful of guys to add to that room, right? Kendall Lamb, Quinyon Green, Matt Pryor. I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. Quinyon Green is a former first-round pick. He's 24 years old, so he's a young guy. Kendall Lamb, 33 years old. Matt Pryor, 30 years old. So you got a nice blend of experience and youth there. Now, just give you guys some more context as it pertains to Matt Pryor's career, especially since he left Philadelphia. It says here, Matt Pryor, he played 27 games for the Eagles, logging 10 starts, quickly highlighting the versatility to play inside and outside with what is a tackle frame. He's a pretty big guy, but he was able to get some snaps at guard. He was able to get some snaps at tackle as well. 6 of Matt Pryor's starts in Philadelphia came at right guard, 3 starts came at right tackle, and 1 of his starts came at left guard. Then he moved on to play 2 seasons with the Colts, starting 14 of 33 games before being a backup for 1 season with the 49ers. Now, last season, again, he played a career high in games, a career high in starts, a career high in snaps. After signing to the Chicago Bears in 2024, he started a career high 15 of 17 games while playing in 1,005 offensive snaps. He played over 1,000 snaps for the Chicago Bears. He played 895 snaps at right guard, 59 snaps at right tackle, and 49 snaps at left guard, and 1 snap at left tackle. Ultimately grading out at number 21 out of 77 offensive guards who played enough to be ranked. So Matt Pryor was the 21st ranked offensive guard in terms of performance last season. I'm assuming that's according to Pro Football Focus. Let's make sure we got that right here. So I'm seeing here, make sure I got this right. So in terms of Pro Football Focus, it says he graded out at 31st out of 135 qualifying guards. That's according to Pro Football Focus. So he was a serviceable guard last season for the Chicago Bears. He had an overall grade of 69.9, a pass blocking grade of 78.1, which was ranked in the top 10 at his position, and a run blocking grade of 65.9 with Pro Football Focus, which was ranked 51st out of 135 guards that qualify. Played over 1,000 snaps, 7 penalties attached to him, and gave up 7 sacks. Now, granted, I would like to think those 7 sacks have context attached to it. I don't want to crucify him for not knowing their situation entirely. That Chicago Bears offensive line was in shambles. But for him to have an overall grade of 69.9, which is ranked 31st out of 135 qualifying guards, according to Pro Football Focus, that's not bad. And they have a top 10 grade from Pro Football Focus as a pass blocker, that's not bad either. And he's a veteran. He knows the building. He knows the team. So, again, I like the move. I have no problem with the move. Whatever the Philadelphia Eagles do at offensive line, I never question it. I never have a problem with it. The Philadelphia Eagles have built up so much equity at that position, especially when you factor in the Jeff Stoutland effect, Stoutland University. I can't sit here in any capacity and act like I have any concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles at right guard or anywhere in the offensive line. You still got Lane Johnson. You still got Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens. All those guys are coming off of either Pro Bowl or All-Pro seasons. That's a fact. So, or they've been All-Pros or Pro Bowlers before. I think Mailata was a second-team All-Pro. I think Lane Johnson was a first-team All-Pro, if I'm not mistaken. Cam Jurgens was a Pro Bowler, right? Landon Dickerson is a former Pro Bowler. I'm not worried about that offensive line whatsoever. Tyler Steen, I project him to end up being the right guard, but I think they're bringing in some bodies to make sure they keep Tyler Steen on his toes and make sure they continue to get the best out of him. Hence Quinyon Green being brought to the fold. Hence Matt Pryor being brought to the fold. And Matt Pryor, again, 6'7" playing guard. That kind of reminds you of that Mekhi Becton situation, right? So we'll see if Tyler Steen can beat out Matt Pryor or if Matt Pryor can beat out Tyler Steen. Kendall Lamb, I think his role is pretty much solidified if he makes the roster. He's going to be a veteran tackle, a swing tackle if he makes the roster. But ultimately, it's going to come down to who the Philadelphia Eagles draft as well and see how they compete in the building. And that's where we're going to get to the top 30 visits. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We are about to lock in on the Philadelphia Eagles top 30 visits because the Philadelphia Eagles continue to invest in the trenches, and I'm pretty happy about that. All right, moving on from Matt Pryor. Let's see where we're at. We got 79 people in the stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Do your job, do your job, do your job, man. We got 27 likes. Let's get that up. Let's get that up. Okay, so now the Philadelphia Eagles. We've discussed their top 30 visits in the past, right? We've discussed guys like Jalen Travis out of Iowa State, Marcus Baun out of Purdue, who's a tackle and a guard. Marcus Baun, right tackle, right guard. Jalen Travis, a lot of experience playing all up and down the offensive line, in particular at tackle, left tackle and right tackle. Josh Connolly Jr., who is likely a day one, early day two draft pick, and offensive tackle / offensive guard Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State. So Jalen Travis out of Iowa State, Marcus Baun out of Purdue, Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon, and Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State. Those are the 4 offensive linemen that we talked about initially, right? The Philadelphia Eagles have brought in some more guys to evaluate. A lot of those guys come in the trenches. They're looking at another offensive lineman. His name is Charles Grant, who's out of William and Mary University. They're looking at Tyler Barron, edge rusher out of Miami. Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College. He's an edge rusher. And Elijah Roberts, edge rusher out of SMU. They're also looking at cornerback Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. And Jaden Blue, running back out of Texas. All right. Let me look at this super chat real quick. Shout out to my man, Alex. Appreciate you, Alex, for always showing love to the show, man. Goes a long way, my brother. Goes a long way. He says, not mad at the team adding O-line depth through free agency. I'm not a fan of drafting O-line in day 1 or 2 in this year's draft when there's bigger needs, in my opinion. And to your point, that may be a situation that the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves in. You know, they don't need any immediate starters on that offensive line. I think they probably have their right guard already in the building in Tyler Steen. So I understand what you're saying. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles at all need to draft an offensive lineman high. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles will need to draft the offensive lineman high for at least maybe another couple years or so. Now, when you think about the Lane Johnson future replacement, will there be a high draft pick? Will there be a guy that they find in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe the 4th round? The Philadelphia Eagles do a great job at finding talent in those day 2 picks when it comes to offensive linemen. Remember, Landon Dickerson was a day 2 pick, but he had day 1 talent. The only reason he fell to day 2 is because of injury history in college. But Landon Dickerson has had a pretty healthy career in the NFL thus far. I mean, he's had his nicks and bruises. Don't get it twisted, but Landon Dickerson has been an Iron Man for the Philadelphia Eagles. So Dickerson was a day 2 pick. Cam Jurgens was a day 2 pick. Tyler Steen was a day 2 pick in the 3rd round, right? Mailata was a day 3 pick. You feel what I'm saying? The Philadelphia Eagles have a pretty good track record drafting offensive linemen, especially on day 2 and even day 3. I'm really intrigued by Trevor Keegan, the product out of Michigan. I'm really intrigued by him. Swing guard, played guard at Michigan, national champion. I'm really intrigued by him, and I'm curious to see where his career goes as a Philadelphia Eagle. I'm curious to see what's the next steps for him. His only path to being a starter is probably going through Tyler Steen, because Landon Dickerson is going to be here for a long time. So that could be his only path to being a starter, having to beat out Tyler Steen for that right guard spot. But you know, that's an uphill climb because Tyler Steen has a lot of equity in this building. He's put up a lot of quality snaps, and Trevor Keegan doesn't have any NFL snaps on the resume yet. So he's still going to have an uphill battle with that. But Alex, I would tend to agree with you. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles need to worry about drafting an offensive lineman on day 1 at all. They may draft one on day 2. That's just who they are. They may. But they're definitely drafting at least 2 offensive linemen in this draft class, be it if one is on day 2 and one is day 3, or if they draft both of them on day 3. But I like you, I don't believe they're going to draft an offensive lineman on day 1, and I don't think they're as likely to draft one on day 2, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. All right. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. So, yes, like I said, we were discussing offensive lineman Jalen Travis out of Iowa State, Marcus Baun out of Purdue, Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon, and offensive lineman Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State, NC State. And they also brought in additional guys for top 30 visits. Offensive lineman Charles Grant out of William and Mary University, edge rusher Tyler Barron, edge rusher Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College, edge rusher Elijah Roberts out of SMU, and they also are looking at cornerback Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky and running back Jaden Blue out of Texas. So this is what I want to do with you guys. I want to go through a bunch of these names. We've already gone through the guys I mentioned before: Travis, Bow, Connolly, and Belton. I want to talk to you guys about Charles Grant out of William and Mary, right? And the other edge rushers they brought in, because the Philadelphia Eagles, like I said to you before, they continue to invest in the trenches. And that's kind of been the theme of these top 30 visits thus far. Now, what stands out to me is that they haven't looked at any D tackles yet. That is something that stands out to me. That's the thing. They haven't brought in any defensive tackles for top 30 visits yet. Now, so far, they brought in 10 guys. They still have 20 spots left to fill for their top 30 visits. So I'm not going to overreact because I don't see any defensive tackles on the list, but it is showing where their priorities are right now. It is showing where their focus is, guys that they want to get in first, right? And one guy, again, that I want to focus on that I brought up out of William and Mary University is Charles Grant. So let's talk about Charles Grant for a little bit, you guys. Smash that like button. I like to use NFLDraftBuzz.com. They do a pretty good job at consolidating the information, making it pretty easy to look at, making it pretty easy to read. They give you a lot of information on the players. So, Charles Grant, 6'5". Let's see what we're talking about here. Anyway, Charles Grant, 6'5", 311 pounds, senior from Portsmouth, Virginia. Position, he's ranked 16th at his position. Has an 84.5 player rating out of 100, according to NFL Draft Buzz, and ran a 5.05 40-yard time. He was invited to the Senior Bowl. He ran a pretty good 40-yard dash for his size. Again, a 5.05, that's pretty good. As you can see here, there is a meter to give you an idea, a color-coded meter to give you an idea of the quality of the measurables, right? Almost 35-inch arms, 311 pounds. He's going to have to put on some more pop. He's going to have to put on some more size on that frame. 10.25-inch hands. So measurables are fair. That 40-yard time is pretty good. Now, at William and Mary, the quality of defense, the defensive rating that he faced was mediocre, really. The defenses he faced has a rating of 57%. Now, based off of the competition he faced, though, he has a 98% pass block rating and a 98% run block rating. He's projected to go in the 3rd round. His overall ranking is 88 out of the total prospects, but he's ranked 16th at his position. He's played 44 college games and has logged in over 2,500 college snaps at the position. Again, projected to go in the 3rd round. And also, perspective is important, you guys. My man George here says, ranked 16th at your position. Will he even be a 2nd rounder? You got to put in perspective how many teams look at offensive linemen, and he's ranked 16th, I believe, out of the total offensive linemen, not at tackle. And I want to make sure I got that right here. Make sure I got that accurate. Yeah, so he's ranked 16th out of total offensive linemen, not offensive tackle. So perspective is important. Perspective is very important, George. He's not ranked 16th out of tackles, 16th out of total linemen. That's guards, centers, and so on and so forth. But let's continue, though. Let's learn a little bit more about the player. It says here, as it pertains to his scouting summary, the development arc for Charles Grant projects as one of the more fascinating tackle storylines in this class. His wrestling-infused playing style, exceptional athletic traits, and technical foundation provide NFL teams a moldable piece of clay with legitimate starting tackle upside. What he lacks in raw mass, he compensates for with functional movement and competitive edge that can't be taught. Grant profiles best in the zone-heavy scheme, where his movement skills and second-level precision create immediate value. Teams running Shanahan-influenced attacks should have him circled as a potential day two value, one that likely requires a developmental redshirt season while adding functional strength. The ceiling here resembles a plus starter at either tackle spot once physical development catches up to technical proficiency. Okay, let's stay there for a second. So this brother, what they're saying is, they're saying from a technical perspective, this dude has all the tools you want. It sounds to me that they're saying his ceiling is pretty high at either left tackle or right tackle. And what he doesn't have in size, he makes up for in fundamentals, footwork, technique, hand movement. Just a very edgy, very physical player. And also, it tells me this guy is still growing. This guy hasn't even, see, we have to keep this in mind. A lot of these guys, we're judging these guys based off their college profile, their college physical profile, that is, right? But when these guys get into their NFL program, their NFL physical programs, these guys put on muscle, they put on size, they put on weight. I'm telling you this right now. Look at Landon Dickerson on day one versus Landon Dickerson today. Look at Cam Jurgens on day one versus today. Look at Jordan Mailata on day one versus today. Look at Lane Johnson on day one versus today. We're talking about grown men. You feel what I'm saying? Look at Mekhi Becton on day one versus today. Different physical specimens, right? So we got to keep in mind, especially with these offensive linemen, that they're still getting into their they haven't even gotten the chance to really get into an NFL program yet. So you're kind of looking, so you're looking for traits, you're looking for guys who are technically sound, guys who have the frame to carry the size that you're looking for. And again, it says here the ceiling for Grant resembles a plus starter at either tackle spot once physical development catches up to technical proficiency. It also says, while the small school stigma and physical limitations will generate legitimate discussion in draft rooms, the film shows a natural mover with exceptional competitive toughness who simply needs time and weight room development. Grant won't be a plug-and-play starter, but patient organizations with strong developmental infrastructures could unearth a multi-year starter with Pro Bowl upside if the physical development hits his intended trajectory. Whew. Talk about it. I'm intrigued by this guy. I really am. It says some of his weaknesses here. It says frame limitations at 300 pounds present immediate concerns against NFL power rushers with significantly more mass and explosive strength. He shows occasional jerky footwork and vertical sets that skilled rushers can manipulate, creating vulnerability to stutter step counters. Anchor strength remains questionable against bull rushes. High-level competition could expose limitations until functional power catches up. Hand placement can drift wide in pass protection, leaving his chest exposed to direct power when facing length and advanced hand techniques. Competition level jump represents the largest question mark. Dominated FCS defenders, but will face an entirely different caliber of athlete on Sundays. So most of their concerns when it comes to Charles Grant are related to the competition he faced and the inadequacies at his size. But the frame, they say it's all there. He just has to get into an NFL program. So very interesting. Very interesting guy to keep our eye on here. Another guy, another gentleman that the Philadelphia Eagles are looking into. And again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles are heavily investing in the trenches. That's what it looks like right now. They're dedicating their time to look at the trenches. They haven't looked at any defensive tackles yet. That's not to say they won't look at them later on because they still have 20 spots left for their top 30 visits. They've only looked at 10 guys thus far. They got 20 spots left. So we will see. I don't put it past the Eagles for bringing in any defensive tackles. I'm sure they're going to probably bring in at least 3 or 4 of them. I'm sure. There's no way they go through this whole thing and not bring in some defensive tackles. They have to. But moving on, a guy on the edge that's drew some attention by the Philadelphia Eagles or from the Philadelphia Eagles is Tyler Barron. How many of you are familiar with Tyler Barron? How many of you are familiar with this guy? Full transparency, I tell you guys all the time, I don't watch too much college football. So I'm learning a lot about these guys as I go here. But Tyler Barron, 6'5", 258 pounds, out of Miami, defensive end / edge rusher. He's a senior coming out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He's coming off of a season where he put up 5.5 sacks, a forced fumble, 38 tackles, and 18 solo tackles. They have him positioned as a versatile defensive lineman. He ran a 4.62 40-yard dash, and he was invited to the Shrine Bowl. His measurables are pretty fair at the position. His 4.62 40 was pretty good for his size. His height and his vertical at 35.5 inches is pretty good for the position. His 10-yard split was really good as well. His broad jump was really good. The bench press was a bit lackluster. 19 reps. Remember, they live 225. So 19 reps, they obviously would like that to be a little bit more. But again, another guy who has to get into an NFL program. 258 pounds, 38 or 33-inch arms, 80-inch wingspan. Now, at Miami, the average rating of opposition offense player faced has a 78% rating. So he went up against pretty good competition. KGK says he's solid and also says, as it pertains to Tyler Barron, he plays bigger than 258 pounds if you watch him play. Joel Perez says he's mid, but he needs to develop. And keep in mind, a lot of these guys do need to develop. Joel Perez says, I wasn't necessarily impressed. I like Minnesota's Jai Joyner. ADW says, I never heard of him. And I'm a Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets fan. All right, let's see here. His tackle rating is a 60%. His pass rush rating is an 87%, and his run defense rating is a 78%. I'm sorry, his pass rush is 87%. Run defense is 78%. His draft projection, he's projected to go in the 5th round. His overall ranking is 155. His position ranking is 36. He's played 60 college games and has logged in over 1,900 college snaps, almost 2,000 college snaps. He was a 4-star recruit, according to ESPN, 24/7 Sports, and Rivals.com, respectively. And one of his comps just so happens to be Jalen Hunt out of Houston Christian, KJ Henry out of Clemson, and Isaiah Thomas out of Oklahoma. So that's very interesting. His closest comp just happens to be Jalen Hunt. Interesting. It says here, Tyler Barron is the son of former NFL player Patrick Lenore. Let's see here. Patrick Lenore is a former offensive lineman for the University of Tennessee. All right. So anyway, it says Tyler Barron, the son of former NFL player Patrick Lenore. Football bloodlines run deep in this technician off the edge. Barron's 4-star recruiting pedigree translated into consistent production at every stop, culminating in an all-ACC honorable mention campaign with the Hurricanes, where he tied for the team lead with 11 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks. What stands out immediately when watching Barron is how technically refined he's become despite his nomadic college career. At Tennessee, he developed into a disruptive force with 100 tackles, 26 TFLs, and 12.5 sacks over 4 seasons before taking his talents to South Beach. His Miami debut was nothing short of explosive, notching 4.5 sacks in his first 3 games, while showing the Hurricanes exactly why they brought him in. Though his sack production cooled mid-season, his pressure rate remained elite. At one point generating 23 pressures over a 4-game stretch that had ACC offensive coordinators losing sleep. Tyler Barron's transformation from athletic specimen to technical pass rusher represents the kind of development curve NFL teams covet. His tape study habits and commitment to developing his craft have paid dividends, particularly in his final 2 collegiate seasons, where his pass rush win rate significantly outpaced positional expectations. At Miami, Tyler Barron shouldered a heavy workload, playing over 75% of defensive snaps in multiple contests while consistently producing against top-tier competition, proving he has the stamina and skills set to make an immediate impact at the next level. This guy sounds a lot better than you guys are making him sound. He sounds a lot better than some of you guys are making him sound. Joe Perez says he wasn't impressed. KGK says, hell no, he's not on Jalen Hunt's athletic level. ADW says, I'd take him in the 5th round. Joe Perez says, Barron is worth one of our 5th-round picks. Private McClunky says, facts, he does sound better than the way people making him seem. He don't sound too mid to me. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's not going to be Abdul Carter. Like, that people got to understand that too. Like, there's always going to be like your guys who are the big names, but you can't sleep on guys in these day 2, early day 3 picks. You can't sleep on these guys at all, man. You can't. You know. Moving on to his scouting report summary. Says here, Tyler Barron brings immediate value as a designated pass rusher with room to develop into a more complete defender. His film reveals a technically refined player whose hand usage and first step explosiveness translate directly to pressure and quarterbacks. He's clearly more comfortable attacking upfield than anchoring against double teams or tackling in space, a distinction that will likely define his early career usage at the next level. Defensive fronts looking for positional flexibility will find Tyler Barron adaptable to multiple alignments. He's shown effectiveness with both hand in the dirt and working from a 2-point stance. That's pretty good. That's what the Eagles are looking for. They're looking for somebody who not only can put their hand in the dirt, but who can also show versatility and proficiency working out of a 2-point stance, which will give coordinators scheme versatility. The disparity between his pass rush abilities and his run defense suggests a development path that starts with specialized situations before potentially expanding to 3-down responsibilities. His cross-chop move and ability to convert speed to power provide a foundation to build upon as he refines the rest of his game. So he still has a ways to go as a run defender. He still has some growing to do as a run defender. But as a pass rusher, he's pretty violent. While Barron won't be confused with the elite athletes at his position in his class, and that may go back to what KGK said, because KGK said that he doesn't believe he's on Jalen Hunt's athletic level, and he may be right about that. Like it says here, Barron won't be confused with the elite athletes at his position in his class, but his technical proficiency and football intelligence compensate for physical limitations. He understands blocking schemes, counters effectively when his initial move is stalled, and plays with consistent leverage despite occasional pad level issues. Now, here's the thing. He's going to be 24 as a rookie, which suggests his development curve may be shorter than younger prospects, but his refined approach indicates a player who could outperform expectations early in his career. For teams seeking a contributor who won't need years of technical coaching, Barron represents a ready-made pass rush specialist with room to round out his game. So he's kind of ready. That's kind of what they're saying here. That's kind of what he's saying. A guy who has who's very technical as a pass rusher. He's pretty skilled there. Brings a lot to the table already there, but still has some room to grow as a run defender. So he likely will start his career as a specialist. Let's look at some. Look at some of your comments here. Let's see what we got here. Joe Perez says, "Heck no, he's not fast at all. He runs labored and heavy-footed." Green Wingman says, "Guys have to remember that there are more busts in the first round than any other draft position." You talking, Greeny? Private McClunky. He says him and Nolan sound like a spooky sight. Possible. Arthur McQueen says here, Dan Cilio said we got 8 wins this year. Oh, man. That's hilarious. Eagles Dynasty says there's a former 5-star recruit, D tackle from Georgia, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, worth looking into. Joe Perez says, I'm just saying, I like Ja Joyner, Ola Winfrey, Oladipo, Fadil Diggs over him. Fair enough. Sweet Chin Music says he's probably a day 3 pick. Yeah, probably so. ADW, the beat, says he sounds like a Vic Fangio project for sure. KGK says in the rotation, he should be good. Hey, my dad is in the building. He said, "What up, son? Still at work. Love you. Go Birds. Love you too, Dad. Love you too, big dog. We'll talk soon. Have a good day, man. Be safe." Dink Bird Gang says, Cilio sure knows how to push buttons. Yeah. Yeah, that he does. That he does. Sweet Chin Music says, I hope they bring in Ola Winfrey, Oladipo, former off-ball linebacker turn edge. Okay, you're the second person to bring him up. Now I got to look into him. I'm going to check him out. All right. Let's get to our other trench player, our other edge rusher that the Philadelphia Eagles looking at. We have Donovan Ezeiruaku. All right. So far we've looked at, remember, and this is from the last one too, the last time we looked at top 30 visits. We've looked at Jalen Travis out of Iowa State, Marcus Baun out of Purdue, offensive lineman Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon, and lineman Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State. We've also looked at offensive lineman Charles Grant out of William & Mary University today. We've also looked at edge rusher Tyler Barron out of Miami. And now we're going to look at Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College. Angelique said, Tone be really out here grinding. Got to. You know what I mean? Got to. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. The grind don't stop. It's how we earn our bones here. You feel me? All right, let's see where we at. Donovan Ezeiruaku, 6'2", 248 pounds, Boston College, edge rusher, senior class from Williamstown, New Jersey. Oh, okay. Ooh, he's coming off of a season. He's coming off of a season. $16 and a half sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 80 tackles, 37 solo. Woo! This is a bad boy. It's a bad boy. Not the tallest, but he got some power on him. Let's learn more about this guy. They got him slated as an edge rusher. He was invited to the Senior Bowl. Like I mentioned, 6'2", 248 pounds. Ran a 4.62 40, a 6'9" 4.3 cone, a 4.19 shuttle. This guy's an athlete, man. This guy's speed. A 35 and a half inch vertical, 119-inch broad jump. Yeah, this guy's speed. Let's see here. The average rating of opponent offense faced. It says here he faced an average rating of 77% on offense. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He went up against some competition. His tackling rating is at 83%. His pass rush rating is at 95%. And his run defense rating is at 91%. His draft projection is second round, mid to late. Overall ranking 53. Position ranking 18th. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, I always like to make sure that's 18th out of all defensive linemen. That's really good. That's really, really good. If you guys are unsure who I'm talking about, we're talking about Donovan Ezeiruaku. Donovan Ezeiruaku. 6'2", 248 out of Boston College. This brother is ranked 18th out of all defensive linemen. That's edge rushers, defensive ends, defensive tackles. That's really good. That's really good. Says here also he's logged in 48 college games and just over 2,000 college snaps. He was a 3-star recruit according to ESPN, 24/7 Sports, and Rivals.com, respectively. Wow, interesting. His positional comparisons are B.J. Ojulari, Arnold Ibikiti, and Jonah Ellis. Let's get to his scouting report summary. Donovan, we're going to call this guy easy. We're going to call this guy easy. Okay? Well, Ezeiruaku is not hard to say. Ezeiruaku's profile as a designated pass rush specialist who will make his initial impact on passing downs while developing his all-around game. His polished rush moves and natural feel for attacking tackles should translate well to sub-package duties. Smart coaching staffs will maximize his effectiveness by deploying him primarily in wide 9 alignments where he can operate in space and utilize his technical skills. His performance against top competition showed both promise and areas for growth. While he flashed impact ability with 2 sacks against Florida State, he'll need time to develop the functional strength and consistency required for every down duties in the NFL. His frame limitations means he'll likely need a specific role rather than being asked to play on multiple fronts early in his career. The best fit for Ezeiruaku will be with teams running 1-gap, 3-4 schemes that can utilize him situationally while developing his complete game. His technical foundation and natural movement skills provide an intriguing base to build upon, but expectations should be managed early as he adapts to the physical demands of the NFL game. So has to put on more size, has to put on more strength. A guy who's going to be a utility guy at first. That's what they're saying. That's what they're projecting. Athletic as hell. A lot of speed. Gifted. Very gifted. A technician. It says here, after cutting his teeth as a multi-sport athlete in Williamstown High School in New Jersey, where Donovan Ezeiruaku competed in everything from discus to triple jump, Ezeiruaku brought that explosive athleticism to Boston College. His journey from rotational piece to ACC Defensive Player of the Year showcases the steady progression that makes scouts take notice. That development culminated in a monster 2024 campaign where he tied the Boston College single-season sack record with 16.5 while racking up 20.5 tackles for loss, consistently wreaking havoc in opposing backfields. Sheesh. Sheesh. Chaotic said, bro sound like he belonged in Dragon Ball Z. Antonio Holmes says, Tone, screw all that. Go watch him. Yeah, I'm going to watch him for sure. I don't want to put up any film on the stream, though, because, I don't want to get pulled. And I like making money. I like making money. KGK says he should be ranked higher, but they dropped him down because of his height and says he is not ideal for an edge. Interesting. Sweet Chin Music says, dude is a beast for sure. I think he would fit well in our defense. I'm going to definitely go watch these guys, though. Dank Bergang says, SEC is notoriously stingy with their film. I mean, it's all these guys, really. I mean, NFL, it's SEC. I don't want to get I don't want to get flagged. I don't want to take any chances, man. I would love to be on here watching film with you guys. I would love to do that personally. I would love to do that. But I don't want to get flagged personally. I don't want to get flagged, and I just don't. I hate taking that risk. I see too many situations where people get demonetized, or on top of that, they can't go live. And going live is my bread and butter. I love going live. That's what we do here. I'm not taking any chances. So I'm going to protect my channel at all costs. Joe Perez says, check his age. He might be really old, I think. Let's find out. Let's find out. Donovan. I always find it intriguing why I don't put these guys' age up here. It's annoying. He's 21 years old. Woo, he's only 21? He's only 21 years old. Oh, he got a lot of football left. He got a lot of football left. All right. Let's move on to another prospect that we're looking at, another edge rusher. Elijah Roberts. Let's bring that up here. Elijah Roberts. Edge rusher out of SMU, 6'4", 285 pounds. Sheesh. Damn. Damn. 6'4", 285 pounds? I'm going to be honest. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. I can't front. How old is this kid, man? 23 years old. Okay. So, an older draft pick. So, Elijah Roberts, 6'4", 285 pounds, 23 years old, hailing from Miami, Florida, with the SMU. He's a defensive end / edge rusher, and he's part of the senior class. He racked up 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 35 tackles, and 17 solo tackles. Let's see what we got here. He's the 40th ranked defensive lineman, and he ran a 4.78 40-yard dash. He was invited to the Shrine Bowl. His measurables are pretty solid, to say the least. I mean, the weight, obviously. The height is decent. Hands are decent. Wingspan is decent. 10-yard split, a little mediocre. Vertical, a little mediocre. Broad jump, average. Arm length, average. This dude is a bowling ball, man. This dude is a bowling ball. 6'4", 285. It's a big motherfucker. I can't lie. Average rating of opponent players, opposition offense player faced. Average rating of opposition offense player that he's faced. 77%. Pretty good competition. A 55% tackling rating. That's not good at all. A 92% pass rush rating. Pretty good. and a run defense rating of 81%. Okay. He's projected to go in the 6th round. Overall ranking 180th. Position ranking 40th. He's logged in 51 college games and over 1,500 college snaps. He was a 4-star recruit according to ESPN and Rivals.com, respectively, and he was a 3-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports. Let's look at the scouting report summary before we get out of here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Says here, Roberts belongs in a 3-4 defense as a base end, where his 285-pound frame and power at the point of attack will cause problems for opposing tackles in limited packages. His film at SMU, let's zoom in here. His film at SMU reveals flashes of dominance when firing off with his hands in the dirt, but inconsistency against higher level competition suggests a developmental trajectory. During SMU's game against Boston College, he showed spatial awareness on interior stunts, slipping between guards and centers to collapse the pocket. But these impact plays were scattered between lengthy stretches of neutralized reps where his technical limitations were exposed. So, okay. So this guy relies a lot on power, relies a lot on his pure brute strength, has some ground to cover from a technical standpoint. When forced to change direction or pursue outside the tackle box, Robert struggles significantly to redirect his mass efficiently, often arriving a step late or overrunning plays entirely. His 21% missed tackle rate stems from poor weight distribution and arm tackling habits that appeared consistently against elusive backs. Pass protection specialists with quick feet regularly neutralize his pass rush by forcing him to win around the edge, exposing his average first step and limited bend. The Penn State game highlighted this limitation. His 2 sacks came only after abandoning outside rushes and focusing on interior pressure, where his strength could be maximized. So this guy doesn't really take good angles in tackling, lacks a lot of technique, relies a lot on power. He can build up momentum, but it's difficult for him to shift direction or change direction. He's just a fucking bulldozer, like Dink just said. But it's going to be difficult for him on the next level, carrying that weight around and not really moving it efficiently. He might have to lose weight. The gap between Roberts' impressive pass rush production and his technical refinement creates a project player with clear physical tools, but equally clear limitations. His bull rush occasionally makes centers and guards buckle, but he disappears for long stretches when that singular move is neutralized. Against Rice, he dominated with 2.5 sacks against outmatched competition, yet struggled to make consistent impact against stronger offensive lines. His day 3 value comes as a rotational defender who might contribute on early downs and occasional pass rushing situations through interior stunts rather than edge pressure. So he's more of a 4-eye. He's not really a 5. He's not really a 5 tech. He's more of a 4-eye. You know what I mean? A 2-eye. He can get you inside. Outside, that's where he can get compromised. He may have to lose weight, though. He may. We'll see. But yeah, those are the guys in the trenches. Elijah Roberts, 6'4", 285. There you have it, you guys. So, like I said, your Philadelphia Eagles, they're spending a lot of their time They're spending a lot of their time, the Eagles that is, looking at offensive line and defensive line. Now, Elijah Roberts, based off the size, he's like a tweener, a guy that can play D end but can also play inside. Kind of like Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham was a D end when he was drafted, but he could always swing inside. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. But that's today's show, you guys. That's our show. We've looked at Jalen Travis out of Iowa State, offensive lineman. Marcus Baun out of Purdue. Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon. Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State. Those are all offensive linemen. Charles Grant, offensive lineman out of William and Mary University. We've looked at Elijah Roberts, edge rusher at SMU. Edge rusher Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College. And edge rusher Tyler Barron out of Miami. We're going to look at Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky, the cornerback, and running back Jaden Blue out of Texas tomorrow. Today, I just wanted to focus on the trenches with you guys. So smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Also, I appreciate the super chats. Shout out to Angelique. She says, when do you think we should start looking into Lane's replacement? I thought it would be this year, but I don't see it. That's a good question. I don't put it past the Eagles for obviously doing their due diligence and drafting guys and developing them and see if guys can step in, guys that they're excited about. But I don't know if this year will be the immediate year. But I'm pretty sure they're going to give themselves a candidate, maybe a candidate or two that they like, right? We'll see though. And shout out to my man Alex with the super chat as well. Appreciate you. All right, you guys, that's today's show. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been tuned into another edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.